Hello and welcome to Learn Linux TV. You know, today is a really good day. Why? Well, any day where I'm going to be installing a distribution of Linux, that's a good day. And today, I'm going to be walking you through the full installation procedure for AlmaLinux. If you weren't already aware of AlmaLinux is really awesome because it's a distribution that keeps the spirit of CentOS, at least the spirit of CentOS as we used to know it, alive and well. Now, for most of its history, CentOS has been built directly from the sources of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is great because Red Hat Enterprise Linux requires a subscription fee, whereas CentOS did not. So administrators all over the world really enjoyed that flexibility. Nowadays though, CentOS has gone in a different direction, and I'm not saying that it's no longer good, it's just not going in the same direction, which means it's no longer a one-to-one compatible replacement for CentOS. However, AlmaLinux is actually what CentOS used to be, a drop-in replacement for Red Hat built on Red Hat sources. And that's really good news for all the fans of CentOS out there because they can continue to have their servers working the exact same way. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through, like I mentioned, a full installation of AlmaLinux on real hardware. And yes, I did say real hardware because on this channel, I use real hardware whenever possible, unless I let you guys know otherwise. Now, before we get into the installation procedure for AlmaLinux, I want to let you guys know about the sponsor for today's video. Specifically, Linode. Linode is a Linux-focused cloud server provider that has all kinds of features to give you control of the cloud, but without the price tag of something like AWS. And if you are already a fan of AlmaLinux, then you'll be pleased to know that AlmaLinux is available as a distribution you could choose on Linode's platform. That means you could get your very own AlmaLinux server set up and ready to go for as low as $5 a month. Now, like I mentioned in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the full installation procedure for AlmaLinux, but Linode actually has done that for you. So if you want an AlmaLinux server that's available on the cloud, you can set up yours and have it ready in minutes. If you use the offer code that you see on the screen right now, you will receive $100 in credit towards your new account. And let's face it, you can set up quite a few AlmaLinux installations within that credit. The credit is good for up to 60 days. So go ahead and spin up your own fleet of AlmaLinux servers. AlmaLinux is an awesome distribution, and Linode is an awesome provider of cloud Linux services, so the two get along quite well. Definitely check out Linode. I really appreciate their continued sponsorship of Learn Linux TV. Now let's go ahead and check out the installation procedure for AlmaLinux. So as you can see, my ThinkPad is starting up. I'll press enter, which is the key in my case to access the boot menu, and then I'll press F12, and this varies from one computer manufacturer to another. But anyway, here's the actual boot menu. In my case, I'll choose the USB HDD option, and for me that represents my flash drive, and basically that's what you're doing. You're looking for whichever device corresponds to your AlmaLinux boot media, and that's what you should choose. So in the interest of time, I'm going to press the up arrow, and that'll get me right to the installer. Alright, so here we have the very first screen in the AlmaLinux installer, and this one in particular is asking us to choose the language that we want to use for the installation process. In my case, it defaulted to US English. Now, you could keep the default if it matches your actual preferred language, but if it doesn't, you could just go down here and select a different language, whatever one you prefer, and then once you've done that, you could go down here and click Continue. And that brings us to the main screen for the installer. Now, for the most part, what we'll need to do is configure the majority of the sections here, and it doesn't really matter the order in which you do so, but I always recommend to configure the network first because some of these subsections here, they actually require the network. So let's just go ahead and knock that out. I'll click right here where it shows network and host name. And this screen will give you a list of network interfaces that are available on your device. In my case, I have these three right here. Since I am using a laptop, I have a wireless device as well. And I did test this, it does actually work. But for the most part, I don't recommend that you use wireless unless you have no other option. Now, don't get me wrong, you can use wireless, but I would recommend to configure that after installation rather than use that as the means to facilitate the installer. Now, in general, what you'll do is just choose whichever network device you wish to use, and in my case, it's narrowed down pretty easily because this one here is unplugged. I do have a network cable plugged in right now, so I know for sure this is not the one that I will need to select. So this first one here, that is the correct option. So you'll highlight whichever one you want to use and then you'll enable it. It was literally that easy. I already have an IP address, as you can see right here, so I have a connection. Now another thing that you could do is go down here and choose the host name for your device. So if you have a domain name, for example, you could type that in right here. But in my case, it's just a demo installation, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just click on Done, and we'll move on to another one of these sections. Now from here, what we'll do is configure the subsections that are relevant to our installation. Now that we have the network set up, it really doesn't matter which order you go about this in, but I'm just going to choose keyboard right here. And we already chose our preferred language for the installer, but if you have an alternate keyboard type, you can set that up right here. In my case, it defaulted to US English, but if your keyboard actually uses a different layout, you could click the plus icon here, look for your keyboard layout, and select it. I'm going to leave it at the default, at least in my case, and I'll click Done. So back at the installer, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to skip the installation source. Most of you shouldn't actually need this. It's just going to install from the installation media, which is probably good enough for most. So we'll move on to installation destination. And at this point, I'm going to assume that you've already backed up everything on your hard drive that you want to keep, because this tutorial is going to walk you through wiping out everything and replacing it with AlmaLinux. Anyway, at this screen, what you'll do is just choose the hard disk onto which you want to install AlmaLinux. In my case, I only have one anyway, so it just defaulted to that. But once you've selected your hard disk, you'll click Done, and you'll probably see this screen right here show up. The thing is, it's going to be much more common that your hard disk might have some other operating system on it. And what this is telling you is that, well, that's the case. Your hard disk already has data on it. So in order to use that hard disk, we're going to need to reclaim some space. So I'll click on that. And since I want to make AlmaLinux the only operating system on this computer, I'm going to click Delete All. So let's go ahead and reclaim the space. And now we have satisfied the requirements for this section right here. We've already set up the language. Software selection, we haven't done that yet, so let's take care of that. Now right now we have minimal install as the default choice, and I recommend that you go with that as well. But if you look over here, we have some additional options that you can choose if you wish. Now I'm going to leave these all deselected, and the result will be a minimal installation of AlmaLinux. However, I'm running on a laptop, so I'm going to need a GUI, and we do have options for graphical administration, for example, but we don't have an option for a graphical user environment in general, so we're going to need to set that up after this process is finished. It's often the case that servers, if that's what you're going to use AlmaLinux for, will not have a GUI, so I'd bet for most of you, you probably don't care about that. But if you're using a desktop or laptop, then you'll probably want a GUI. So that's what I'll show you after I'm finished with this, but I think this is good enough for now. I'll click Done. Let's click Time and Date. So the basic idea of this screen is to move this red dot to be as close as you can get it to your geographic area. It doesn't have to be exact, but just good enough such that it chooses the right time zone for you. And in my case, the New York time zone is technically correct. I'm closer to Detroit though, so I'm just going to choose that. I'm about an hour and a half away from Detroit, but again, I don't have to be exact, so I think that's good enough. So again, you just move the red dot closer to your geographic area. Closer in a general sense is fine. Once you've done that, I recommend that you ensure that network time is enabled, which it should be by default if you set up the network before you went to the screen, which is the way that I did it. So I should be done with this, and we'll go ahead and move on. Now I'm going to leave kdump and security policy alone at their default, if you need to change anything there, you could always do that after the fact anyway, so I won't worry about that right now. But we will need to configure our user accounts, and I'll start with root. And for the root user, what we'll need to do is come up with a password. So I'll type in my desired password for root right in here. And I'll type it again in the confirmation box. And it should be as simple as that. My password is strong. So in that case, all I should need to do is click done. Now you might have to click done twice if you don't have a strong password. And they do that to make you acknowledge the fact that your password could be stronger. You could use whatever password you'd like, however insecure it might be. But I always recommend that you generate a strong password. That's always better, so that's what I did. I'll click done. And now we'll create a user for ourselves. This is a really good idea. You don't want to run as root all the time. So in the first box, we'll type our first and last name. I'm just going to cheat a bit here and just type my first name to keep it simple. I'll make my user an administrator, which gives my user access to sudo. And then I'll come up with a password for the user as well. And again. And then I'll click done. Now at this point, if you are following along with me, we should have gone through everything that we need to configure for our installation. So I'm ready to go. I'll click begin installation. And this is going to take a few minutes to complete. So what I'm going to do is actually, check this out, fast forward time and jump ahead to the future when this installation is done, and then we'll continue on from there. Alright, so I have successfully sped up time and I'm here at the end of the installation process. From the verbiage down here, we can see that the installation was successful. So let's go ahead and reboot. So we're starting up, and I'll let this time out. So far so good. And now we have the login screen to our brand new AlmaLinux installation. On my end, I have a 4K screen, so the text is very hard to see. So I'll just enlarge this in post to make sure that you guys are able to see it. Anyway, if you didn't intend to install a graphical user environment, you know, the Gnome desktop, then you're all set. At this point, you should have your very own installation of AlmaLinux all set and ready to go. But for those of you that are running on a workstation, well, we should probably get that GUI installed. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. I'm going to log in directly as root. I'll type in the password. And now we're in. So I'll type in IP addr show. I want to make sure that I have an IP address. And thankfully, I do in fact have a connection. I have an IP address, so I should be good to go on that. So for those of you that want the Gnome desktop, let's go ahead and take care of that. I'll run DNF, group install, and then in double quotes, I'll type server with a capital S, space, and then with, another space, then GUI in all caps. And what this should do is actually fetch all of the packages that make up the Gnome desktop and install it here on my local installation. So I'll press enter. And there's a bunch of packages that are going to be installed as a part of this request. So I will answer with Y and then enter to confirm. Now it's going to take a few minutes for all of these packages to install. So what I'll do is, well, speed up time again. So if you see a message like this one, you could just go ahead and type Y and then press enter. It's just confirming that we actually want to install the packages that are going to be installed. And we do, so I'll press enter. And again, it's going to take a few more minutes for this to finish. I'll be right back as soon as it's done. Alright, so it looks like the process of installing the packages required for Gnome has been completed. So there's one more command that we'll need to run in order to activate the GUI when we boot up the machine. So I'll enter that command right now. I'm just going to run systemctl and then set-default and then graphical. If this works, what this should do is set the default mode to graphical, which means the GUI should be available right when the machine starts up. So I'll press enter, And well, that's all set. So at this point, everything should be all set and ready to go. So I will type reboot, and let's see what our new AlmaLinux installation looks like. And here we go, moment of truth. Awesome, so here's the boot menu. I'll just let it time out. And now we're starting up. So here we have the welcome screen. I'll just click on next. And then here we could choose a different keyboard layout if we'd like to do that. And I'll just click next for now. For Wi-Fi, I'm not going to do this, but if you do have a Wi-Fi network and you want to connect to it, well, this is pretty handy. You can go ahead and do that right from this screen, but I'll skip it for now. For location services, I'm just going to leave that enabled. It's pretty much up to you. It doesn't matter what you choose. And if you'd like, you could disable this right now and then just turn it on later if you need it. Anyway, I'll click next. If you have any of these 3 online accounts right here, you can click on one of those and then put in your user credentials to synchronize to one of those services. I'll skip that for now. And we should be good to go. And if you've never used Gnome before, then you could check out these videos and click on these links right here to learn more about the desktop environment. But I'll just go ahead and close out of here. Anyway, our installation of AlmaLinux is all set and ready to go. So there you go. At this point, you should have your very own installation of AlmaLinux all set and ready to go. And AlmaLinux is one of my favorite distributions. I'm really happy that they're keeping the spirit of CentOS alive, or at least the spirit that it used to have, the direction that it used to have, and that's really cool. Now, if you found this video helpful, please consider giving that like button a click, because that lets YouTube know that other people might benefit from this content as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.